Organic evolution. I'd been doing therapeutic body work, and this was working in a chiropractor's office. A lot of times I'd be working on somebody, and if there was nothing structural, or they didn't take a fall or something, they hurt their shoulder or their back, if I asked them what was going on emotionally, they might be like, yeah, my mom just died, or I got laid off work. And so I just saw this connection between mind and body on a deeper level, and I wanted to pursue that. I actually wanted to do a regular degree in counseling. I looked around the Chicago area. I wanted something body-centered. And the only one they had was dance movement therapy and counseling. I had no interest in dance at that point, and actually really disliked dance a lot. I meditate a lot, and I'm really into body sensations, like meditating on body sensations. And I just have an incredible, just phenomenal success rate following where the energy is, what feels good in my body. And it felt so unbelievably, incredibly good when I was here at Columbia that I just knew I needed to do it, even though I didn't have the background in dance. My family didn't dance, my friends didn't dance. We just didn't dance. I played sports. So it was football, swimming, weightlifting. Drivenness, powerness, how do you get things done was really what was respected. And so I had no interest in dance, which I saw as more esoteric or over here. But it was, again, the sensation in my body was, I've just never had anything that's gone wrong when I followed anything that had that level of pleasure and well-being in my body. And so I just knew I needed to be here. In sports, it's so who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who's the most powerful, who won? And in Columbia, where we'd start to do these movement pieces, where me and my classmates and I would just, part of class, we'd do a 2-minute movement piece. And they would share this movement piece, and to me it was so, I was learning so much about them through this, more than I could ever know in words. So we'd be talking for an hour, they'd do a 2-minute movement piece. I was like, oh wow, I felt like they let me into their world. So I started to get the richness of it, just the incredible beauty and the sense of connection with them. So I just had this incredible respect, this awe, and I was just touched by it. So yeah, it started to shift very much. Because there was just this profound respect for the way they could move, and profound respect for that sense of connection. And so it was a very much, part of my own journey too was letting go of the old masculine role. The sense of relationship, the importance of relationship, the importance of this playfulness, and the sense of joy they had was incredible. And I'd see this, people would talk about how much they loved dancing, and I'm like, what's going on with this? But I'd started to see people who were, no matter what their age, I felt like they could stay in touch with this playful, joyful, curious, open, expressive side that, and I was like, wow, whatever's going on, I want to learn more. It's such a beautiful field to me. I mean, the work is just, it's just phenomenal and life-changing, just so profoundly life-changing. So I think it is just the same way I had this huge weight around the word dance and all these preconceptions. It's really sharing it with people and saying, this is like, how do you open your heart? How do you connect as people? How do I find who I really am inside? How do I get to know me better? As a guy, there were so many things around like how I'd be perceived. I tell people I'm in dance movement therapy. I felt a lot of times it's like, what's going on, kind of, and so part of it's dance movement therapy. I think part of it's culturally of not having this imbalance of masculine and feminine, but that what's expressive, creative, joyful is valued as much as the business side of life. The group I was in would start to move soft and flowing, and I would have this total aversion to it. Like, I'm a guy, I can't move soft and flowing. I'm in a room full of women who are like, hey, let's float around. And then it began to be frustrating for me. Like, I'm a grown adult, and I can't move that way if I want to. And I would start to see like the guys I played football with, and hear the names we used to call each other, and how I thought I was supposed to move as a man growing up. But the healing of stepping into that and letting myself move as much as I could, and then feeling the emotions around it and open up to it even more, it's just to have the wholeness of my personality come back. It was such an unbelievable gift. And there were times I would have to leave the room. I would literally double over and be like, and I'd see one of the guys from football, like literally see the image, like, I'm like, no, and take a breath, go back into the room, open up to it again. And so the healing was just unbelievable. And I really wish that for everybody. Well, to me, it is that business healer component, and I do consider it a healing profession, dance movement therapy. I feel like I was very welcomed. It could be a little bit challenging in class because stuff would come up like there could be a lot of anger towards men in society, and it was really interesting for me to how to like, how do I not take that personally? It felt like it was healthy as a group for a lot of my classmates to talk about that and healing and important. And then how do I not go, wow, this isn't about me, or how to disengage but also be a part of it. So that was a lot, but I was just really welcomed. I feel welcomed by a lot of people, and it's an incredible community. So I feel like most of the women in DMT, or if not all, or 99%, really are like, yeah, we want more men. Come on, come join us. But the homophobia element too. So like that's when I tell people I was in dance. A lot of times I felt like it was like this look of kind of like, what? Or, and also just that like heterosexual guys aren't dance movement therapists. And so I know that sounds kind of like a cretin thing, but I just think it's important to say because it's there. And things I had to work through myself were this whole thing. So like if my group is in soft flowing movements and I'm doing soft flowing movements, will I be perceived of as gay? Will I be perceived of as effeminate? Can I do this? And that is such a load of BS. Because women can move like guys if they want. They can be, oh, I'm going to move like this, and then it's interesting or okay. But then if a guy wants to, all of a sudden it's supposed to be less than, like it's of lesser value. And that's BS, and it's ridiculous. Although it was so far in my bones, again, that it was so hard to break through it. And the conditioning, having to come back to the feeling of what it's like to be a young man in football and to be, do I want to be ostracized? I mean, that's what would happen to anybody if you showed up like that. Do you want to be ostracized, not part of the community, ridiculed? Because women can move like guys if they want. They can be, oh, I'm going to move like this, and then it's interesting or okay. But then if a guy wants to, all of a sudden it's supposed to be less than, like it's of lesser value. And that's BS, and it's ridiculous. Although it was so far in my bones, again, that it was so hard to break through it. And the conditioning, having to come back to the feeling of what it's like to be a young man in football and to be, do I want to be ostracized? I mean, that's what would happen to anybody if you showed up like that. Do you want to be ostracized, not part of the community, ridiculed? I can't change society, but what I can do is reclaim my movements. I can, this is like, and for me it was like almost like a protest in a good way of like, I'm not going to be a part of this thing that the feminine is next, or less than. I'm going to move in this feminine, flowy way. I'm going to try to be the most feminine, flowing person in this room, and I'll do that in here. It's like, I'll look around, I'll feel that self-consciousness coming out. I'm like, screw it, man. I am going to be as light as possible, and then I'm going to move into a punch kick. But I get to have all my humanity back, and I'm not going to participate in the denigration of the feminine. So the healing is incredible, but that's part of what I had to work through to be that. But so I feel incredibly welcomed. So part of it's my own internal process, part of it's societal, but so unbelievable healing. And just the joy it's opened up in me, the sense of connection. I'm a licensed professional counselor in LPC. I have a master's degree in dance movement therapy, an MA. I'm a licensed massage therapist, an LMT, a certified structural therapist, which is similar to structural integration or Rolfing work, so CST for that. And I haven't sent the thing, but I could send it in for the initials for the dance movement therapy too. I hadn't needed them, but so I have that as well.